Here we are, back again, a lifetime of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're going to talk about where we live a little bit in a weird way.
Okay.
So, today it's winter versus Florida. This is this is my acclimation after 3 years of, living in a seasonal place for so long. Pennsylvania, that's, you got the 4 seasons, right?
Sure.
Mostly winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what always got me, though, what really gets me is you think about it. I think I've spoke to this before. It's funny how people in Florida who live in Florida, grew up in Florida, a lot of people never even left Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing not like I've never left the United States, but I've been to a lot of states.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that just never leave Florida. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's not a big deal to just drive north and then go west or keep going north.
Yeah.
Right? But one thing I found for all the people I asked, because I asked the questions, they're like my own little, statistical surveys, is that no one vacations in the winter areas. Like, they don't go to snow.
Yeah.
But yet everyone comes to Florida for the summer. Even though they live in a place that has summer,
Right.
they come to more summer. But people that live here in Florida don't want to go to winter. Not averagely. Now, I'm talking not the people that transplant from seasons to Florida. I'm talking people that live in Florida. It's like they're almost like allergic to the idea of snow.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't know what to do. Like they just have no desire. I can't even get answers out of people when I ask them. Like, you wouldn't want to, I don't know, just see what it's like, experience it, walk through it, throw a snowball, make a snowman, do, I don't know, all those cliched things that people do. I get it if you're not a skier or a snowboarder, right? And then what else do you do?
Right.
What else do you do? I mean, like, you shovel your driveway. It fucking sucks. That's why I
Oh
don't
my
like it.
God.
But you don't go on vacation to shovel driveway.
No.
So
No.
I just, the acclimation to me is like, I don't get it, because it's still, I work outside mostly, and in the winters here it gets like the lowest I've ever seen it get is like 47, and that's like that one cold spell,
Right.
But that's nowhere. It's not even close to freezing at that point. And you're sort of close, but not nearly close enough. But yet it is too cold for anyone to do. They shut down. They're like iguanas that fall out of trees.
Yeah.
Like, it gets too cold, they're all like, no, I'm not. No, it's cold.
When I
It's
first
freezing.
moved here, like our winters, it would be like in the 30s for weeks on
Like
end.
actual 30s? Like,
Yes.
did it ever actually freeze?
No, but it would be
These are
cold.
Fahrenheit, right? Like,
Yeah. And I mean, we would have bonfires every night. Jackets. It would be cold.
yeah,
You know,
because it does get chilly. I'll use the word chilly.
it's not like that anymore.
Now, you're referring how many? You saying decades? Like you have to give it a time frame, because
Like 1996, 7,
right.
8.
So yeah, that's
99,
decades.
2000,
That's
yeah.
almost 3 decades, give or
Yeah.
take. Right.
And it would be cold in the winter
Yeah.
for a while.
Even when I was here in Lauderdale in 01, I remember this one friend we had a Jeep, and they had no
Right, yeah.
walls
it's
and
open.
shit. And we were at night, and fuck, I had a sweatshirt and a woolly,
Yeah.
and it was cold. And
Sure.
but then again, we were by the beach,
Right.
and cold.
A lot of
There was
wind.
a lot of wind,
And you're moving.
crosswinds, yeah, and you're moving. But it's a little different here. I think even we're close to the water, but we're not that close to the water. We're far. I can't smell the beach.
No.
So
And that's another smell. Oh,
right.
that-
Yeah, I we missed that one. Yeah, for our smells episode. It's gonna be sticking in your head now.
Yeah.
Like, but it just, I wanted to like entice people to give a reason to go see winter somewhere else, other than, because obviously it's winter somewhere everywhere. Like even Venezuela, which is cold, hot all the time, worse than Florida, has a winter, but it's more like a wet season and a dry season. But it's still, it's 70 instead of 89, right?
And you're
Or
right, 'cause
93.
I talked to a lot of people from Florida, and they never went and saw snow. And I'm like,
Never seen snow.
and I'm like, and then when you tell them like this different kind of snow, they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, there's snow that you can make a snowball with.
Yeah, there's packed
and then
snow,
there's snow when you make a
fluffy
snowball, it's powder. It's like
Right,
baby powder, and it
snow.
just falls apart.
And then snow has a smell. Talk about smells.
Yeah.
We should have went with that too, because I love the smell of snow. And people are like, snow doesn't smell. I'm like, yes, it does.
Yeah, it
Like, especially
does.
when it coats everything and you walk out in the morning, it has a crisp, cold, like, I don't know, like it's almost like an empty smell.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes any sense, right?
Well, because it's covering the scent of everything else
Right,
coming
but
out.
yet it creates a scent.
Its own scent,
And
yeah.
it's like water. Like you can smell rain, right? I can smell the rain in the air, like, or when it's about to rain. You know, some people say you can smell it. You can smell it, you know, but snow has a smell. But this is my point. Like, there's so many, the experience, like, it's not a big deal. Like, to just go to see, even Texas has snow.
And you don't have to stay there forever. Just go check.
No, yeah, like, just make it a point.
Yeah, you don't have to go up in the mountains where you're stuck in your cabin because it snowed for. You can go to New York City, see the snow, go skating in Rockefeller Center. You know,
Because, you know, even like, we went to the ice skating rink here, and it's nice because it has the feel, and it has the smell, and the ice, and the Zamboni, and the
oh, I
sound.
love Zambonis with
right?
powdered sugar.
That's a freaking Zeppoli, man. But hey, okay, we'll go.
Oh, yeah, okay, whatever.
Zamboni.
Hey, my Italian, she's not so good.
Yeah, I just don't understand. And again, maybe that's the thing. So, like, you think about all the things you can do in non-snow, right? Far greater than all the things you can do in the snow. Like, you know, like, okay, you don't ski or snowboard, but you can sled, right? And if you've never sled before, wouldn't that be something that you'd want to do? Like, I've never done this thing, and it not only would be new and novel, but it's a whole
easy.
different experience of a geographic climate. Like, it is. You live here long enough, even in the time that I've been here, it's like, it's deja vu. You know, holidays pass by. Everything's green. Like, even spring doesn't have a spring.
No.
Like, flowers don't just bloom. Some do in spring, but most of those are the ones that people planted that weren't supposed to be here.
Right.
Right? But it's just green all the time. And then sometimes in the summer when it doesn't rain, some stuff's brown.
Yeah, it's been, for me, it's been summer for the last 30 years.
Right. The never-ending, like, license plates you see around here. Like, it's the endless summer. And, yes, that's true. But, again, even then, there's way more to do. Like, you can always be outside. You don't have to worry. That was one of the greatest things that I love, is that I don't have to have, like, 4 sets of clothing. Like,
But
2
I like
sets
that.
of different clothing for different things. I have clothes. And they're the only clothes. Like, if I went now to Pennsylvania, I'd have to go and find a jacket or a woolly or
But
like thick socks.
But like when I lived in New York, like the girls would have all these different outfits, and when winter came, now you see them in their the boots, their cute little boots and their jeans, and like, wow, she's cute. You know, look at that outfit, you know, that they put together for the winter.
Excuse me. Yeah. But that's the fashion aspect, but it's still a necessity.
Sure.
Like, you could wear any coat, but you need a coat. Even, you know, a scarf. I don't know. I wasn't really going anywhere with this, other than the fact that I think that, and I don't know if this is a Florida thing or if it's a warm climate thing.
Maybe
Because if
they
that
don't
were the
want
case, then people wouldn't. I mean, it couldn't be warm climate because, like, let's say we get immigrants from Mexico and South America, right? It's gorgeous and beautiful down there, and Amazon and rainforests and hot, stupid hot.
Right.
So not the wet, like they don't just come to Florida, like they move all over the United States. So geographically, that's different, but yet it's an acclimation one way or another. It's an acclimation.
It's hot here, but like India, like
Right, that's a whole
I
different kind of
oh my God, I saw a guy from India, and he was here. It was like 90 degrees, and he's wearing a freaking coat. And I'm like, what are you wearing a coat for? He's like, it's freezing. I was like, what?
I guess.
He's like, I had 6 family members that died of hypothermia in this weather. I was like, get out of here.
At least there's water here.
Yeah,
and
right.
They're not doing so good.
My God, the Ganges River. Yummy. But people just don't like to be cold.
Yeah,
They don't like it.
I think one of the reasons too I brought it up is like I've been here 3 years, a little over now, since that move, and I haven't gotten sick. Like, no cold, no flu, no nothing. Like, and every year when I lived in Pennsylvania, I got a bronchial infection or some sort of nasal infection, just due to I would almost imagine it was either season change or cold weather climate or just barometric and just, you know, drop in temperature. Because it's like, even though in the summertime it'll be hot, but it's still cooler at night. Like, here it's always hot.
Yeah.
Like, I work at night and outside.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, yes, it's not as bad as during the day.
No.
Don't get me wrong, that sun is brutal. But it's still like 79 with 86% humidity.
Yeah.
So it's not only full of fucking mosquitoes that never leave you alone, but it's hot and sticky and, and just humid.
It's so hot at night, I get moonburn.
Moonburn. Which is kind of funny because it's really still a sunburn because the moon didn't make the light.
No.
So.
It's just blocking it like a Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, this is not a very exciting topic.
But then it makes me think about this. Like the one good thing, it's always summer here. But the one thing, do you ever notice this? Like when you live up north, like you actually have a summer, a spring, a winter, and a fall.
Right.
And it's like,
and they're very specific. Each one is what they are.
It is what it is. And each one of those seasons, as they come, it's kind of like your personality doesn't change, but like your feeling and your demeanor changes.
Oh, yeah.
And
sure.
like you know it's winter when it's cold outside. You go to your neighbor's house and you hunker down and you have some coffee and you talk to your neighbors and you have a camaraderie.
Yeah.
Down here, people don't go to each other's house and hang out. I mean, they're too busy screaming and cursing and shooting each other in
they
traffic.
would, but it would be for the same reason, not for different reasons.
Like a hurricane.
Okay, but that's almost an existential difference. That would be like if there's an ice storm in Pennsylvania, like it's the equivalent of a hurricane here.
Right.
Like I'm not going to go to the neighbor's house. I got to make sure that my house, if my electricity runs out, that I get the generator going, that we keep the refrigerator running. Like you don't. Like we don't get together and have a hurricane party like they do in Florida. It doesn't work like that. Like,
but we do that. But then after the hurricane is over and nobody has electricity, there's nothing to do. So you hang out with your neighbors.
But you're not freezing to death, so it's
no.
okay.
You're not freezing to death. You're sweating to death.
Still better than freezing to death.
I remember in my apartment, the eye of the hurricane came directly over my apartment. So 1 minute, the wind is blowing from east to west, and then it completely stops and just no wind anywhere.
That's so eerie.
And then 10 minutes later, from west to east, the wind is going in the exact opposite direction.
That's crazy.
It was wild, man. It was wild. It was really cool.
Even the hurricane aspect, it's something that is, let's say it happens, but it's not as bad as everyone thinks. Like when you live here long enough, you realize that the infrastructure and the people are you're prepared for these things, just like people are prepared for winter.
Yeah.
Like where there's, Texas got that big snowstorm and they had no ice melt. Because it doesn't happen often. They don't need it. Yeah. But now it causes problems, and then people drive on the road and then everything shuts down. But the idea that where I was going was the acclimation of people that live here to it creates a stagnant pool where you don't ever want to leave. Like you can't be comfortable that long. Mm-hmm. Like there's only so much you're going to experience here.
If I had the money, I would travel around to different climates.
Sure.
I'm stuck down
and
there.
I realize that a lot of it has to do with money, and I'm not talking about picking up and moving. It's more just the idea of it's not that difficult to take a few days off, get in a car, and drive. Mm-hmm. Just because I was thinking about the borderline. So where do you think the borderline? Because Virginia, I mean, even though Virginia, that's a little too north.
The Carolinas,
Georgia, Carolinas, that would be like the cutoff of because they don't really have an autumn and a spring. They do, but it's more than Florida, but less than New York. Right, so the Carolinas would be the cutoff,
and it could snow up there.
It could, and it does snow, but probably not enough to hold for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like in New York, every season has a certain feeling, and a certain attitude,
and you lose that here because that's what I meant the whole deja vu. Like every day is just like the day before.
Yeah, it drives you crazy.
You lose holidays. You don't actually know what a holiday is because you have no reference to the seasonal change. Right. Yeah, people put up decorations, but that's just commercial garbage.
Yeah, right.
That's the only reference point you have.
Right, that's Like in New York, it's Christmas. It's snowing. Come inside.
Well, it's turning Christmas,
and they have their coats on.
Right, like you were getting there.
Right.
You may have not. The week didn't matter. It was the whole month, or the whole 2 months from November all the way up to.
Yeah, November, Thanksgiving is cool. It's chilly. It can be cold. It can be.
Oh, it definitely. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times it snowed on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, me too. I remember one time it snowed on Thanksgiving. The snowflakes were like huge.
Yeah,
they look like doilies.
Yeah. Not only is that funny, but I just find the word doily funny. You said it like you were a New Yorker too.
Yeah,
friggin' snowflakes. They were like doilies.
Yeah, they're coming in like I didn't know whether to look at it or put my friggin' coffee cup on it.
That one had a coffee stain on it.
Hey, come here. It's a coffee doily. Yeah, but that's true. Like, and then once the snow starts to melt, and then you start thinking about when am I going to be able to take the cover off of my swimming pool with the big inflatable bubble in the middle.
And
of
it's
the pool.
funny, like you're thinking that already, but you still have one more season to go. Like you
Yeah.
can't do that in spring. You know, you have to wait because it's too early.
Right. And you tell people in Florida that never left it, like, in spring, you can't swim in your swimming pool in spring. The water's freezing.
No,
Like, what do you
insane.
mean?
Like what?
Yeah. And like, what do you mean you can't? It's springtime. I'm like, yeah,
But-
it's nice out, but the pool is freezing. You don't get it.
Just because the air is nice doesn't mean the water.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that I love the most is that like in the winter I like swimming in the ocean here, even though it is cold out.
Oh.
Like, but the water is generally like 75 degrees. It's the ocean.
Yeah.
So the ocean is warmer than the air, and that's something special. Like, and that's exactly what you're saying. Like it's the opposite. I can go swim in the spring, and that's why people in Florida go, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
But this is exactly my point. Is that I think people here get stuck in a I don't know, like a rut.
Yeah, exactly. In a
Like
weather
a living
rut,
rut, like
yeah.
a wet rut. Like you, and I get the climate you live in, and I understand that most people can't just change their lives. And I'm not talking about moving, but it's just going. Like everyone goes somewhere, but like when you're living in Florida, it's kind of tough because, like, especially where we live, it takes 5 hours to get out,
Out of Florida.
right? And it would take 3 hours to get further.
Right.
So you're trapped in a way. Like you kind of are. You really are trapped.
Pretty
Like,
much.
where you're going to go. You can either go to Cuba, South America, the Keys, or everywhere else in the United States. That's it. Those are your choices. And it's sad that everywhere in the United States is harder to get to than the other two.
Right, I know. I mean, I've been to
And
Mexico
not
and
very many
Jamaica.
people want to go to Cuba. So, you know.
Yeah,
especially
and
with
you
the-
really
The
can't.
Russian warships down there and everything.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
bizarre.
There was no point to this. It was more of just a rant in the sense that I get it.
But it's true. I mean, if I could snap my fingers and play in the snow for 10, 15 minutes and then come back, I'd love that. But like you said, shoveling snow. No, I mean, nobody's going to visit New York and be like, all right, everybody step on up for the snow shoveling experience. Only $5.
And then, they're definitely going to be Ubering because I can only imagine like a lifelong Florida resident who never left and born and raised trying to drive in black ice and slush and not understanding the difference, and where to turn and how to move and, it changes everything.
Yeah,
And I get
driving
that.
in the snow,
Like,
it's a
Uber, please.
Yeah, it's a feeling that you kind of learn.
Yes.
It's like learning how to walk as a
Oh,
toddler.
yeah. You learn how to drive your car in the snow. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You can feel it. And no, you're right. Just saying that is exactly how it is. Yeah. You couldn't teach someone. That's why here they teach adverse weather conditions, which means rain
Yeah, rain and wind.
and wind.
Because
That's
I'll be on the highway and it's really windy and you could feel it
Oh,
pushing
it pushes
your
the
car.
car, sure. But there's no other.
No, that's it.
There's no hail. There's no ice storm. There's no tornadoes. I mean, you don't even really have
Well,
tornadoes.
there is
here. They
hail,
have
but-
some, but not like Kansas. Yeah. It doesn't take out a small town. It took out a CBS.
Oh, the hail.
No, a tornado.
Oh, a tornado.
Like they happen in Florida.
Oh,
but
yeah, they do.
Not
Oh, yeah.
not like existential
Right,
where it's like the whole village and the church and the corner store and Sally's RV. No.
And a witch on a bicycle flying through this. But yeah, it hails down. I mean, golf ball size hail.
I've still yet to ever see hail.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Never. Like little hail, like tiny little, I would say pebble-sized pieces. But like how people talk about like golf ball size, I've never seen anything like
Yeah,
that.
I have.
I've seen pictures and videos, and it's like you just got to be in the right place in the right time at that point.
Or the wrong
wild.
place at the wrong
Or yeah, it would be wrong, I guess. Depending on.
Well, I guess if you have the right umbrella, anything's possible.
They make hail-proof umbrellas.
Yeah.
Pay a lot of money, like Kevlar. And it's like also good for Compton. We'll stop drive-bys.
You look like the penguin.
Yeah, I didn't know where else really to go with that. I think I had an idea that was kind of misinterpreted when I started this.
No, but I know what you mean, though. I mean,
It's just I would like to. I'd love to get out and interview more people about it. It's a stupid thing to talk about. Like Because me, I don't really hold back thoughts. Like, let them go. Let them go, and we'll let them snowball, pun intended.
Yeah.
If it collects.
We can do man on the street.
I don't go out there in a day. I don't actually see the day. This is the problem with working a night job. Like the daytime is like, what is the sun? Like I see it for 2-3 hours tops.
I know what the sun is. Believe me. I was hanging out with it for quite a few hours today. Yeah, I was putting on sunblock, and the sun was like, "Oh, look, isn't that cute?"
Look at that little
Hey
red
guys,
guy. He's so red.
Hey guys, look at Robert McCarthy putting on sunblock.
He's like pink. Looks like a little lobster, parboiled.
And then the sun squints his eyes and looks at me and goes, "Take that, you SPF 35 MFer."
And I was trying to take a spin on this, like, and go a different direction. I don't know how. Like,
well, I mean,
you can't bring that here. Like,
no.
The ice skating rink would be the closest thing you get, right? That would literally be it. They don't have, like, how, like, some countries have indoor ski slopes, which is insane.
Oh, my God.
Right? The idea that you built a building big enough to put fake snow in, and then people ski in it inside.
Yeah.
What? Like, I can't fathom that.
The money.
Right. Just the sheer vastness of that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's a mountain. I mean, it's right there, and
Yeah.
But you built this so that you could ski. It would cost you less to go on vacation.
Yeah, it would.
In that place than it would, But anyway.
Yeah, and after you're done skiing, you get to the bottom of the slope. You're like, all right, I'm leaving. Okay, don't forget to take your jacket off because it's hot as hell out there.
When we first moved here in 2001, I told you we got that job at Publix in the warehouse, and you worked in a freezer.
Yeah.
And it's like the most miserable thing to move to Florida for the first time and you get a job in a freezer.
Yeah.
And so, like, all day I'm in, and then I go out for a cigarette or I go out for my break, and you open the door, and you're like 2 pairs of pants on, 3 socks, a jacket, and it's just the waft, the humidity and the heat hits you like a wall, like a pressure wall. Someone just squished you, and and it was the most. I'll never forget that as being one of the most depressing feelings. And I don't get depressed very often. That was the most depressive feeling ever. I only lasted 2 weeks, and I was like, "Why am I doing this?"
Yeah, right. What the
Who
hell?
does this?
I mean, do you like to fly?
Say again?
Do you like to fly in planes?
Well, sure. I mean,
I
don't really like it nor dislike it. It's
Right.
To me, it's a transportation.
Right. So like whenever I fly from like New York to Florida or Florida to New York or Baltimore or wherever, it's like when you get on the plane, it's hot and humid and this and that. You're inside of this little tube, and then you land, and when that door opens and you walk out into New York, everything is different. The air, the smell,
And that's everything.
the
I think
feeling. It's
parametric
like
and
being in a
wind.
different world.
Yeah. That was my point. Kind of like the idea of just, and I guess it would be different too with a car drive, because the car drive is
Gradual.
the gradual change of temperature, whereas the flight is.
You notice
is
it
the
so much. You're like, wow,
instantaneous.
this air is different than the air I was just breathing an hour and a half ago.
It's a little smoggier, a little crisper.
It's crisper.
I think I heard
definitely.
the air say, "Go fuck yourself."
Hey, who's the
That
new
might have
guy?
been the guy next to me.
Hey, what's with the jacket? It's only 60 degrees, you fairy.
I'm walking in. Yeah, I don't know. That's as far as I got. I wasn't. I should have been a little more excited about that, but I didn't really have as much as I thought I had.
Yeah, no, but you know what? It does. It makes sense, though. You know, I know where you're going. It's like if people hear that there's going to be a tornado in Kansas, and they're like, "Hey, everybody, let's hop on a plane. You know, we're going to miss it." You know? But like going to New York, yeah, I mean, or wherever up north, Maine or whatever. You know, yeah, you get to see snow. You get to smell the air, feel the crispness.
That was okay. That was the angle I was
taste the
going to.
water.
When I talk to people, and they always go the worst case scenarios of snow. Now, yes, there are worst case scenarios of both snow and hot weather. Like if I said Florida, people are like hurricanes and gators, right? They always name all the things that are dangerous, right? But aren't really an issue.
Right.
Like it's not even close to an issue.
Yeah, heat strokes kill more people than alligators in Florida.
Right. Just a fact. But it would same thing. So a Florida person would be like, "Oh, but there's like ice storms and
Yeah, they know when they're going to happen. Stay inside and light a fire and drink
to them
hot
snow
chocolate.
is evil. Like it comes off anything colder than 65 degrees is freezing.
Yeah.
I
And it
think
is, but so what?
I think that's a deterrent. I guess I was trying to poster boy experience in climate, but
Well, and it's so funny because, like, if you say, "Oh, it's going to be 35 degrees," that's cold. But do you know what
Yeah.
sounds cold in someone's mind? Do you know how cold it's going to be tomorrow? 12.
right.
That just sounds like
yeah. I
that's
know.
an exact
Whenever
number.
they were complaining,
12.
when we worked at the range, it was outdoor, and like there were literal days where we got our phones and we're huddled together in this little backdrop around a sterno can or a fucking propane heater, and it's -3.
Right.
Like literally -3, and that's Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not even fucking Celsius. So that's far colder than anyone in Celsius would understand. And the wind chill, and you're just
I was just going to say that.
miserable. Like but people always they factor it in, but they don't. But I'm like, it's the same thing as the humidity here in Florida. Like it's 85, but it feels like 96.
It's
That's-
not the heat, it's the humidity.
Right,
Up
it's-
there,
but
it's like,
it's
it's not the
both.
cold, it's the wind chill.
right. You know, we're like, oh shit, like snot actually freezes on your nose.
Yeah, that's
like that
happened.
kind of cold. And
Yeah.
now that I think about it, like it was actually inhumane what they made us do.
Yeah, it
Like-
was.
Like we should have been given protection and a place to go. Like
Yeah.
we had to stay outside, and that's how it was. But like that's extreme, and that's the kind of stuff that people don't want. I'm like, yeah, but you don't have to stay out it when you like go somewhere. You can go in, do something else.
You don't have to walk to school in this.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was inhumane, making us walk to school. The budget didn't pass.
Again,
Kiss my ass, the
for
budget
10
didn't
years.
pass.
We had a non-passing budget for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like you live 2.6 miles and the threshold is 2.7. Oh, you motherfucker! Like, really? The 0.1 of a mile, so it's just okay that I walk 2.6 miles instead of 2.7?
Well, do you know what we should have done? We should have walked 0.2 miles that way and hopped on the bus. If they're getting picked up over there. We'd get thrown off of the bus. Hey, you 1.6 milers, get off my bus.
Even that's one thing I'll say. Like the one thing that I didn't, I'm not an ice skater, but I can ice skate. Right? Like I'm really good on roller skates, always had been.
Right,
But
yes, you are.
yeah, really, really good. Love roller skates, right? But roller blades, not so much. Something to do with the blades, and I think it's just the years of acclimation towards wheels over blades, you know, the ankle support and all that. But a lot of people, like there was a pond in my aunt's house, and they would all skate on the pond when it froze, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, it's fine. I'm like, no,
Yeah, it's fine
I'm
until
not
it's
doing
not.
that. That is no. How do you know? And they're like, well, because we skated on it. And I'm like, no,
Yeah, okay.
no. There's a hole right over there. And they're like, no, we just don't skate over there. I'm like, no. If you're not skating over there, which is like 30 feet away, I'm not skating over there. I'm not skating anywhere on this
Yes.
and falling through.
And
Are
do-
you crazy?
And do you know what? You're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're standing on ice and you hear that sound, and you're like, oh, shit. Yep. It's
And then
like the
after
spider
the
webbing.
second one, there's only going to be more.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And the more ends up being a hole.
Yeah.
And now I've fell into like a foot worth of
Yeah,
cold
yeah.
water from an ice puddle.
Me
but
too.
I've never skated over a pond. No, it's not my thing. I don't
no.
care. I don't care. Like,
It has to be 3 feet of ice.
right. Ice fishing, I was gonna say, drive a car on it. Okay, if that car can go on it, we all can have the escapades. I'm
Yeah,
fucking
right.
happy with
Yeah,
that.
if a car can go on it, I'm Charlie Brown. Christmas time is here.
I think that's where I drew the line. And they would all be out there skating, and I'm just like, go ahead. Number one, I don't like ice skating. Number two, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. And I'm not the person to say that. I'm usually like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even question it. But there's certain things, and that is one of them. That's why I wanted to point it out. That's my one winter thing that I never, ever did.
Yeah, because
Everything else I did.
when you fall into that hole, if you go underneath the ice,
Oh, you're done.
how do you get back? You don't know where the
Even
fuck
if
you are.
hypothermia sets in the first 45 seconds,
Yeah.
and you're a kid, and you thrash, and you panic, and who's going to save you?
Yeah.
Now they
Jesus.
come out to the already broken ice, and then they fall in too.
Yeah.
No, this is crazy. This is a bad YouTube video. That's what it is. Like, guy saves elk. You know, like right.
Yeah, sure
Look,
he
I'm
does.
sorry, elk. You know, guy saves dog. Nah, okay.
Yeah, I love him. Yeah,
Guy saves
deal.
elk. No, sorry, elk.
Yeah. How about this? Guy waits for elk to drown. Guy has elk dinner.
He didn't even have to put it in his freezer.
Yeah.
Do you think of anything that you didn't do in the winter? Like, what was the one thing? There had to be something. Because I snowboarded. I went on skier, but I definitely snowboarded.
I never skied.
We made igloos.
Yeah, oh yeah,
right?
that was fun.
In the field across the street, we made snowmen. That's an obvious. You play snowball fights. You even build snow walls out of snow to have like a snowball fight and make like a fort thing. You know.
Yeah.
You go out of your way to do these things.
Yeah, and when they plow the parking lots and they make that big mountain in the, with the light post in the middle, we would climb and play, whatever game we played.
Okay, here's one thing I never did that I've seen other people do and never done: jump off the roof into a pile of snow.
I don't know if
I never felt comfortable with that.
I probably would have. I just don't think I ever have.
I know. I think about I just always thought none of that looks good. Like, what if I land wrong? What if there's a rock? What if there's a garbage can underneath?
If it's your own house and you know what's underneath it, maybe.
I don't know. Still, but that whole, is it packed? What's the level of it? Is it powder? Is it fluffy? Is it tight?
I mean, if it's wet and tight, you'll know.
Yeah, but it's after.
No, I mean, all you have to do is pick it up, or you could feel it on the side or whatever. I mean, I'm not jumping off the roof. Maybe if it's something that's not too high. But, I mean, I learned my lesson after raking leaves and jumping into a pile of leaves.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, what am I covered in? Frisky's dog shit.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I remember that.
Yeah. Jumping into a pile of leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you don't have a dog, have a dog,
yes,
fine.
It's fine.
Jump in a
it
pile
really
of
is
leaves.
okay. Yeah, you want it to be that Charlie Brown episode that it's not going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And then
Snoopy didn't shit in the fucking leaves.
And then, well, no, I mean, we just rake the leaves over the shit,
Yeah.
not knowing it's
you
there.
just don't know.
And you know my mom. You could imagine the smile on her face when I take my pants and coat off and hand my mom,
Yeah,
shit,
now you do it.
Yeah. You can imagine the smile on old Florence's face when.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we're just tangenting, but it's funny how how here they have canals, or I don't know what you'd call them when they dig a hole for excess water. Is there a name for them here?
When they dig a hole to get water?
No, like when they for flooding, for like excess rain, like how it's the rainy season and. You build like buildings, but then you have to build an area where the water.
Oh yeah, a swell.
A swell.
Yeah,
what did we call them?
A sump.
We called them a sump.
Yeah.
And they were all over Long Island, New
Yeah.
York, and they were always called a sump. And there was usually a drain. Sometimes they're big enough to walk through. Sometimes they're small enough that you couldn't fit a turtle through.
Mm-hmm.
But they're always fenced off, right? And they were barely ever full. Like they never got used. No. They always felt useless.
They were creepy too, kind of.
They were kind of creepy, and I was like,
"There'd be a shopping cart, bicycle with no wheels and no seat,
there would
pornography.
always be like ne'er-do-wells in there or something, or like drug addicts or whatever. Like
you felt a little unsafe in there, but you went in anyway.
Yeah, yes, yeah. But here they're purposeful. Like that shit fills up, like a lot. I never seen a sump fill up for more than like a day or two.
No, but
why did we call them sumps?
I don't know. That's just the name.
Is it a slang? Is it a term?
Yeah, I think. It was new. I never heard it anywhere else.
Right. That's what made me think about it. Because like here, you see them all over, but we call them ponds. Right. It's not. It's a pond, yes, because it never drains. But a sump is only for that when it's
runoff.
needed. Right, for the runoff, and then it goes back into the ground, and then you don't need it again. But here, it's like they don't ever go away. It's like once you fill up an area with water, that's it, mosquito haven. And then all of a sudden, somehow we put no fish in there, and there are tons of fish. Yeah, they all just found their way in.
Yeah, but now that they have like locks, like if my canal behind my house gets too high, there's a lock over on Southern Boulevard. They'll pill it up, and the water will go into another place, and they level
to
everything
keep everything level.
Yeah.
Sure, but again, that's
Thank
a lot
God
of the
they
reason
have
because they're using a lot of these canals as transport, as highways. I mean, people take boats from one end all the way to the other, or
recreationally.
No one rides a boat along the sumps. And
no.
All right, now we're going off. I'm gonna end this because I don't even know where I'm going anymore.
No, that's good. I mean, a lot of people hear this and know exactly what we're talking about, and other people will be like, "Wow, that's interesting. I never knew that."
Or I'm actually curious about how other climates handle different, like, like Japan is a good example. Like they have an extreme, like it's a very small island, and they have mountains and cold, and then they have warmth in the bottom and the valleys, and it's they have hardcore extremes. Extreme winter and extreme summer is the same. I think they're very similar, but they live such a different lifestyle. I wonder how it's like. Is it more natural the way they do it? I always found it like ours is like too modernized, too like.
We're just so Western.
Yeah, I guess that's
We're
all
new.
That's all it
We're
really
new.
is,
We're the
just
new
Western.
people in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, we're what 250 years old. All these other
longer
countries have
than
been.
that, but when it comes to infrastructure, sure, that's a fair number.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, the United States is only 1775 is when we founded the nation. So 200.
Yeah, true.
About
Okay, so
250 years.
It's so sad. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
We're like a bunch of children.
Yes, exactly, and we act like it too.
Yeah.
We act like a bunch of children that just got all these toys dropped
That's why
in our
I don't
lap.
take for granted living here, but I do find a lot of it unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's great that we live the way we do, but most of it is unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, it's never going to change because it defines us in a lot of ways.
It's only going to get more progressive.
Right, and that's the dangerous part. Whereas that, like, we try to quell, let's say, plastic use or this or single serves and certain things and climate change. It's never going to change.
Right.
It's not, unless the only time it's going to change is when it's so bad we have to change, and that's the worst time. Again, we go reactive over proactive, and that's why I say when I see something like, I use Japan as an example because they have like just. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Old world recipes, old world techniques, things that just they're in tune with their climate enough that they don't change it enough for it to change. That they have to change to fit it. They just follow along with it.
Yeah, well, it's like us. Like when we were 5 years old, what was dropped in our lap? A wiffle ball bat, a bicycle.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
those
Transformers. Now, a kid that's born today, when they're 5 years old, what's going to be dropped right in their lap? AI.
Oh yeah, a laptop or a tablet or a phone.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything wrong with that because that is social change.
No, not
at the
that there's
same
anything
time.
wrong with it. It's just such an extreme difference in such a short period of time.
But
really.
that's technology in itself. That, I mean, yeah. Because it's funny, like, I mean, yeah, it's the same. It would have been the same for electricity. It would have been the same for the telephone.
Sure,
it would have been the
yeah.
same for TV. How many people, when they did surveys, when TVs first came out, 70% of people said, I would never buy a TV.
Yeah.
I mean, that is absurd. When you think about it's not even just a Western thing, worldwide. Now we're all walking around with TVs
In our hands.
and but the same people that are walking around with TVs may not have actually grown up with a TV.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because when you talk about speed and movement.
And the funny thing, the TV that we carry around in our hand, everybody calls it a phone. And meanwhile, an actual phone is like, we use a phone the least on this thing.
Yeah.
That's
I
funny.
saw a report the other day. People going back to flip phones. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. Here's the flip phone right here.
Right. Yeah.
Up yours, buddy.
I get it. I get the idea of that, but I guarantee you those people that switch to a flip phone, all they want is their smartphone back.
Yeah.
Because it is very... Now, if you turn around and say, I'm done with society, I'm done with this... We'll just use Western culture. We'll keep that going. I'm done with this conformed society. I'm going to go live in the cabin in the woods. You can do that. Mm-hmm. But that is not easy at fucking all.
No.
Okay? So, number one, where do you work, right?
Right.
I work from home. Okay, you have a plus, right? But you have to now cut your own wood, get your own food, you still have to have a grocery store, you still have to have a refrigerator, you still have to have all these things, right? You may have separated yourself from the culture, but the culture you can't separate entirely.
Yeah.
You just can't. I mean...
You can go, okay, you live in the woods. Now, not dying is your full-time job.
Right. I mean, there's still going to be, even if you lived in a small town, there's still be a doctor, there's still be a hospital. There would, you would still have to get stuff. You're going to still fucking go to Home Depot somewhere.
You have to.
A
You
freaking
can't
load.
just live in the woods.
Right.
Hey, what happened to Cletus that moved to the woods?
People do it. Yes, a very, very, very small percentage of people that could have done it. They were going to do it anyway.
Right.
Or they spent a lot of their time doing that and built up that skill. You just can't go and move and live. And
No way.
it's hard to revert. And I don't think we're supposed to. It doesn't mean that people won't. I just don't think we're supposed to. We're not supposed to. You can look back, but you're not supposed to go back.
Right.
Not generally. You know, nostalgically, sure. You know.
I mean, that's why people go camping. You do it for a weekend.
But they don't even, it's not even camping anymore. It's glamping.
Yeah, it's glamping. I got it.
I mean, there's a shower. There's fresh water coming out of spigot. Yeah. There's Wi-Fi. Right. What?
OMG, I'm totally camping. Selfie.
Right. Camping is, I had a washing. I went to the Catskills. Remember our friend Neil back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? So his stepdad took me and his brother.
Wow, I wonder what happened to him.
To the Catskills. He moved to California, and I never spoke with him since.
Wow. What was his? Oh, you tell me his last name.
I don't like to use last names. Just
no, off camera.
Yeah. There's a camera here this whole fucking time? No. So we went to the Catskills. Now, anybody that doesn't know, New York has the Adirondacks, the Catskills. These are far removed from what you think of New York.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
This is far removed even from our land where I had property upstate.
No New York accents there.
No, it's like twangy, and it's up in the middle of nowhere, and the Catskills are pretty much desolate woodland for the most part. Now, of course, there's towns. But he took us camping to, we had to bathe in this freezing cold stream. We had to wash our clothes. It was a week.
Dig a latrine.
Right. We had to, there was no bathroom, so you had to dig a hole, find a spot. Now, we brought toilet paper because it's, biodegradable at that point. But that's it. That's all you've got. You're lucky you had the toilet paper. Yeah. We had to hang our boots up so, porcupines wouldn't steal the rubber and take your shoes off in the middle of the night. Luckily, we weren't in bear territory, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
You had to put your food up.
Yeah, we had, but everything had to be cooked in a skillet over a fire. That's camping. Real camping. Now, I'm not trying to denigrate them camping nowadays. I just think that it's almost hard for people to go fully back. Yeah, because they'd
be clueless.
It would be so difficult. There would be no enjoyment.
That's like putting me and you in a cave and a club in our hand.
Yeah. And there are plenty of people that still do it, and there should be, and hopefully for the rest of human history there will be, because I still think we need that, but just not as a dominance,
That's interesting.
Anyway, we went from climate to Western society. I don't know how
it ties in though. But okay, so now like what I said just before we go, this one last note: if you could choose to be born where when you're 5 years old you have a baseball bat and a bicycle, or 5 years old and have an iPod.
It's a biased question.
It is biased, but really, I would pick being raised the way I was, and I'm not being biased towards it. I just think that I would appreciate everything more as it came.
But that's only because we see it from that perspective.
Yeah, I get it.
That's why I said it's biased. I can't, because if I honest-answeredly, dyslexic much. If I answered honestly, I would say I'd rather be born now.
Yeah.
I like this age. I like the technological age. I always have. I loved it then.
I couldn't wait for it.
Right. But
when you dreamed about it.
Right. And we couldn't even, we could touch it, but we could never own it.
Right.
We could see it, but we could never understand it. Like now it's so ubiquitous that it is everywhere. And it's only going to further proceed.
We saw it in the movies.
What's that?
We saw it in the movies.
But that's what I mean. You can see it, but you can never really touch it. You can touch it, but you can never really own it. Like there was always a limit. Now it's pretty much, it's all ours. We have the ability that's accessible to everyone. I would much rather be born now, but that's again in itself biasness because we didn't know any better. There was you can't change that. You can only move forward with it. That's why I tend to stay relevant as much as possible. It's keeping up with technology. What is new? Why are we still doing it? Again, the biggest thing that I hate is why we do things because we've always done it this way. Yeah. That is the biggest downside to when we grew up. Because how many times did you hear that when you asked a question? Because why do we do this? This is the way it's always been. Yeah. No one took the time to say, but you know what? Maybe there is a better way. Yeah. Let's look for a better way. And we did, and of course we do. Otherwise, nothing would ever move forward. Yes. But it was so slow, and it's still slow.
It's like,
because there's too many fucking old people in power that are holding on to the way we've always done it, whether it's their money, whether it's the infrastructure, whether it's just the habits, whether it's society, whether it's whatever. The one thing I do enjoy is that technology forced us to change.
Yeah, it brought us out of our comfort zone.
It had to, because with AI now and the way things work, with let alone schooling and just in conversations and talk. I mean, we have a conversation with on the podcast, and we do some off the cuff, but I still have to look up things when I research on the internet.
Yeah.
And then you have to also fact check and base the best you can. You can never going to be perfect, but I didn't go to a fucking library to do it. I didn't go through 17 different books.
Yeah. No Dewey Decimal System.
Right, I didn't have to go to that card thing with the holes and the numbers that didn't make sense and go find a book. Why can't I just type the thing I want, and then 30 of those books come up? I have to get a card and go find it in this really
and then it's not there.
Yeah, and someone put it in a different place. No
just
one ever
to be an
puts
asshole.
something back in a different place on the internet. It's always there.
Yeah.
And if it's not there, I can find the exact same thing somewhere else in the same exact way. Yeah. But this is what I mean, like moving forward. It forced it. Technology is the one thing. It's one thing that will force us to evolve where nature doesn't. Because like we spoke about, I think it was prior in the other podcast, where like we were still fearing our fears from the lion in the bush, and there's not enough time with technology in our lives in human history to evolve. It forces you, and what forces evolution above all else is environment. And maybe our environment is saturated with fucking technology,
and maybe it'll bring peace to the world eventually. Finally, who knows?
I love the optimism. I really do.
Well, once people,
I don't think it'll bring
realize
either or, but
that all of their fairy tales and their hatred and their differences are all based on nonsense.
I mean, nothing,
because we have our vision on something much more bigger than that. I mean, like when you see movies about the future, I mean, it's either a complete all-out Armageddon or just a bunch of robots all happy and
right. Know. It's either utopia or existential crisis. It's either dystopia or utopia.
Yeah.
There's never the medium nobody wants. That's every day.
Boring.
That's normal.
Right.
That's like, why am I watching a movie about a guy going to work?
Yeah, it's like being a line cook and then coming home and watching Hell's Kitchen.
Right. That's what people always said, that stuff. Like, you watch those gun shows when I was at the range. No, I don't want to come home and watch other people shoot guns. I just did this all day long. Fucking tired of it. I dodged 7 barrels. I took down one Asian guy. I smashed I pushed an Indian woman against the wall because she turned the gun on my face. Oh, I don't want to look at more of this, right? After leaving restaurants, I used to go to 7-Eleven and buy like 3 Hot Pockets because that was not like anything I cooked all night long. I do not want anything. I'm going to eat this microwaved, factory-made piece of garbage.
With lava in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, so... from climate to society, I don't know how we make these jumps in these conversations, but it's fine. I think we're gonna call it.
All right.
I think not only did we beat the dead horse, but we sold it to the glue factory at this point.
Aw, Mr. Red.
Hey man, everything's got its purpose. Or we sold it to a school in Kansas because they got F-grade meat. Now serving horse.
Paul, you hear that?
Paul, they got horse on the menu. Oh, good Lord. Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening to A Lifetime of Conversations, and we will catch you guys next time.
All right. Peace out.